Hi, everyone, and welcome to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. Wendy has spent the last 2 years helping women with various stages of endometriosis to heal naturally after putting her condition into remission. After her own healing success from stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis, she's inspired to heal others, and her goal is to help some of the 175 million women know that there is another way other than painkillers, drugs, or surgery. This is the place to be for real talk with real people for real results, so you can learn how to heal your endometriosis naturally. Please note that the opinions expressed in this program may represent options, but are not a substitute for proper medical care. Before starting any new healthcare program, we recommend you consult with a health professional.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Wendy K Laidlaw here from Heal Endometriosis Naturally. I'm really excited to have with me today the lovely Carla White from USA. She is the founder and CEO of Gratitude Labs, and I thought that all you wonderful listeners would really appreciate hearing from her. So lovely to have you with us, Carla.
Oh, thank you for having me, Wendy. This is exciting.
Yeah, I know. Well, we've spoken many a time off air, and I just love what you do. And I just thought that it would be so wonderful for the listeners, especially if they're going through all sorts of pain and suffering and confusion and whatever, just to hear what it is that you do, because I think it would really inspire and complement them on their journey. So perhaps you could give us a little bit of background about, where you're from and how you started on your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, so, I was in the same boat, different illnesses, but obviously it started with stress, and it took a toll on my body and, of course, my mental health and everything else, my self-confidence, to the point where I couldn't even go out of the house without crying, like sobbing. And it was, ruining relationships. It was hard for my jobs and stuff. And the way I got there wasn't just like one night I woke up and I was depressed, or one morning. It was a bunch of little tiny moments that piled on each other. And the way it really started to snowball was when I transitioned from being an employee overseas to being self-employed, and that going from being under somebody's umbrella to being totally exposed like that, really, I wasn't in the mindset to handle it. Like, I didn't understand what was all involved. And so I was handling it all incorrectly, drinking too much, sleeping too less, trying to do more than I could each day, thinking I had to do everything myself, all these misnomers. And at its very worst, when I didn't think I could handle anymore because I had ulcers, insomnia, gained weight, was drinking every night, I got a middle of the night phone call from my brother. My dad had suddenly passed away. So at that point, I just simply wasn't equipped to deal with what was next, and really slipped into a deep depression, to which my husband said, well, let's move you to America, where I'm from, and that way you can be closer to your family. Well, that actually made it worse because it was on the cusp of winter. I had this failed business behind me. I was out of Europe. I love Europe. I was back home where I started, and there's, no dad there to be in sight. And so at its worst, I ended up in the hospital with double pneumonia when the doctor said, here you go, you can have some medicine for your double pneumonia, and you need to go see somebody for your depression. And I said, what depression? Because you can hide it. And people who have depression don't know they have it. Yeah. They do not know it. So then I dug deep into trying to fix this myself, because that's just my personality. And that's when I came across keeping a gratitude journal. And if you're new to it, it's just basically writing down 5 things each day that you're grateful for. It's pretty simple. So 5 things that happened good that day. And you do it every single day. So I started this process, and I was about 2 months into keeping my journal, out for a walk. And I was going through my head, well, I could put in that I, went for a run this morning, and I lost some weight, and I slept really good last night, and I got some job prospects. And then it hit me like, oh my gosh, that's completely different than where my life was just a couple months ago. What did I do? What was the magic pill I took? And that's when I realized that it was keeping a gratitude journal. And at that point, I thought I had to tell the world about it. And so I went to make a gratitude app, which was super crazy because Apple just released the SDK. I didn't have an iPhone. I was like living in the middle of nowhere where nobody even knew how to make apps, but I figured it out. And this year it's going to be celebrating 10 years on the App Store.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing even that. I mean, it's so inspiring. And the women that work with me, you know, I do something similar in that, you know, I see that they have to keep a journal, you know, and write every morning, because it's amazing how getting things that are swirling around your head and in your body up and out onto paper can be so freeing for the soul. So what is it specifically that you think, if people are going, wow, I mean, wow, just writing down 5 gratitude things a day. So what do you think it does to the psyche, to the spirit, to the, what do you think, you know, from a biological perspective?
Yeah. So, right. So, you know, once I created the app, I went down this rabbit hole of neuroscience and, you know, everything from woo-woo spiritualism to hardcore science. And what is happening is our brains do not know, as smart as they do not know if something is happening in the present or if it's happened in the past, or you're just thinking about it, you know. So if you're in an anxious mode about something that's coming in the future, your brain and your body actually interpret that as, oh, it's happening now. So let's get up our defense mechanisms and protect her. So the cortisol goes up, you know, the stress hormones go up, but really you're just thinking about an event. Well, you can do the exact same thing with the positive chemicals that go through your body. And so when you write it down, and you actually have to go through the physical aspect of writing it down, not just replay it in your head, but writing it down, because then you have this cognitive connection between mind and body, which is super powerful. So you write it down, and your brain doesn't know, again, if it happened now or in the past, but because it's a real life event that truly did happen to you, you're solidifying it even more. So what you're doing is taking your brain pathways, and it's usually going on like highway 1, and now it's going to take a different highway altogether, which is a much more optimistic, happier highway. Now, how this manifests in your real life is, what it does is it changes your expectations on results. And when you change your expectations on results, you change your actions. So, for example, you have a desire to be healthier, but you are anxious because you tried something, it didn't work in the past, or you've been down this, you know, and you were let down, or you had a relapse or something to that regard. So there's some anxiety in that. Now, when you have anxiety, you're less likely to take action. You hold yourself back. And so you kind of stay in this trap. Now, if you are enthusiastic and you're happy and you are like, you know, this is Christmas morning and I'm 10 years old again about a solution for your health, you're going to jump into it with, you know, both feet. You're going to go for it. You're going to be super excited about it, and you're going to take more action. Yeah. So it's that expectation of whether it's anxiety riddled or joyful. And how do you naturally become more joyful about your expectation? Well, you focus on what was working for you in the past, and you put your focus on that over and over and over, and you do it every single day. It's not like you just do this for a week or, you know, here and there. You do it every single day, because without our even knowing it, we get the opposite messages coming at us all the time from all different directions: social media, the news, commercials, you know, everything. All the top 3 industries want us to think that we're not enough, we need more, we need to consume more, we need to be more, we're failures in some sort of way. And if you do fail in trying something new, then you shouldn't try anything new again. Yeah. Because failure is considered, you know, like a bad thing.
Yeah. And it's fascinating hearing you talk like that, because that's so true. The whole, consumerism and marketing is designed to pick holes in like we're less than, or somebody else is more than, and that we're not enough and there's something wrong with us, which just feeds into those natural human insecurities that just are sprinting away in the background. And as you say, if you're focusing on, everyone knows it's like what you focus on, you attract. But sometimes we can get into loops. We're all guilty of it. You get into sort of loops. Things can happen. You feel overwhelmed. And what I'm hearing from you is it's an element of getting control. It's getting control of your thoughts, getting control, therefore, of your actions. And actually, sometimes that perpetual spinning wheel in our head can just, as you say, release cortisol, which for women with endometriosis competes with their progesterone. And normally, women are deficient in progesterone when they have all these endometriosis symptoms. I love hearing how you're talking, because even the neuroscience, I think, and of course it's repetitive patterns. And we're not saying, obviously, if you're in an abusive relationship to ignore it, or we're talking like things that, just being mindful and bringing to the surface in a safe way that you can then choose, like mindfully, what's happening, what's real, what's present, what's now, and what you might need more support in, or something like that.
The way I see it is, Michelangelo, when he created David, and people asked him how he created such a beautiful statue, he said, well, the statue was always in there. I just had to take away the pieces that didn't belong.
Absolutely.
And that is the way it is with us. When we're born, we're perfect. And then things get slapped on us through educational institutions and life experiences and whatnot. And these get molded into our subconscious. And our brains, just trying to keep us alive, not trying to keep us happy, use these experiences in the past to protect us from the future. Although they aren't protecting us, they're holding us back. Right. And so these practices like gratitude or meditation or writing in general are just breaking away those pieces that don't belong, so your true self can come out. And that true self is very creative. It sees things differently. It has a unique perspective. It has a unique intuition. Yeah. And these are gifts that the world needs from you. And so I love what you're doing, Wendy, to help these women discover this, because it's so absolutely essential, because women, in fact, I feel have double compound of suppression of their true gifts, which is, we're such intuitive individuals, and to bring that forth in such a beautiful way, it helps everybody that's around them.
Absolutely. And I think, it's interesting. Society has so many cultural suppressive ideas about women. There's so many mixed identities, so many mixed ideas of what women should be like, so that there's that other edge for women as well. But I think what's really interesting chatting to you is hearing, for those who are listening to this and like, well, how is that impacting on my body? And you picked up on the subconscious thing. When we're born, we take on beliefs, we take on ideas of who we should be. And I think that the lovely process of the gratitude journal and journaling in general helps you identify who you really are, because you probably don't even know. People say, oh, you discover your voice or you find your voice. You probably didn't even know you had one.
Yes.
You probably didn't even know what you thought you felt before. You were just trying to keep everyone else happy and made yourself miserable in the process. Have we not all been there, to the point of just like, if you're happy, I'm happy, and like, okay, tell me what I have to do to keep you happy, at the expense of your health, emotional, spiritual, and physical health.
Yeah, exactly. Because especially as women, we turn into these nice girls because we're told to be nice.
Yeah.
And that comes with so many repercussions, because we feel like if we talk too much, or if we stand up for something, if we take direction on anything, we're being bossy. There's so many words to keep us suppressed in what our true gifts are. So it's a really beautiful time to see this coming to full circle. And it's not just for men, because I have 2 boys, and the ability for them to remain vulnerable, to be able to cry and to show their emotions and talk openly and be themselves, to wear what they want to wear and have their hair like that, without having to be cornered into this masculine personality set that they're supposed to be. Don't cry, don't show your emotions, all that stuff. So it goes both ways. This feminine energy that's coming up through both genders is awesome.
Absolutely. And it's lovely that you created in 10 years. Wow, that's amazing. And I know you've had such great feedback about, what you do. And I know the app is just part of what you offer and do. And that's why I wanted you to come on to the show, because I think I'm all about developing like almost an ecosystem. And I'm obviously predominantly for the women. I've got a son myself, so I'm not anti-men by any manner of means. But I think women do get the tougher deal because, and it's interesting you talking about your own past, when you went on and trying to do business yourself, that you really felt that pressure. Because I think women as well, when you are on your own and you are trying to build a business, there's this, your mum guilt as well, mum guilt if you're ill, mum guilt if you're trying to do something different, if you don't conform to the stereotype or, what that is. So I think what I love is whilst it might seem very simple, it's an incredibly powerful process just to be mindful of kind of what you're grateful for. In the moment, it's the power of now, looking at what is attainable now and almost getting that sense of peace with your past. Because I think we can sometimes in this busy culture we're in, this better, faster, more now, everything happens so quickly. Everyone's so demanding and we've got fake book, we've got people presenting the most beautiful images of themselves that when we end up like going, wow, look at them, look at me. But actually being able just to breathe into the moment, write down what you're grateful for, write down what your thoughts and fears are so they're up and out of your body. It's a very simple but powerful process.
Yeah, and you bring on something really interesting, which is community. And that's been super much on the forefront of my mind because with Facebook and all these social media, we see our friends and we connect with our friends through these devices and never pick up the phone to say hello or, come on over, let's have a cup of tea. And you don't know how profound that is until they actually are sitting at your kitchen table, sharing what happened over the last 6 months. And you're like, why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you call me?
Yeah.
When your house flooded or your husband had this problem, why didn't you call me? Because everybody's so busy. You're so busy.
Yeah.
And so I think as sisters, we have to make a pact that it doesn't just take a village for the kids. It takes a village for the sisterhood, for the women, because we do 80% of the healthcare decisions. We do 80% of the household decisions. We do, when it comes to school and clothes and celebrations and holidays and everything, we do 80%. So there used to be a day and age when women would kind of think that there was a scarcity, for the men in their lives or the jobs available or whatever. And so you had to do what you could to survive. Yeah. But now we know that glass ceiling is shattered and we are going to shatter it together by helping each other out. So if you don't have a community right now, a basis, if you're listening to this, I deplore you to find a community because that's probably going to be the biggest thing in helping you get this shift that you are looking for.
Absolutely. And I think that's it. I think people fear showing their real selves because they'll be judged and criticized, which just adds to that internal kind of critic that's there anyway. But actually, as you say, when people are open and honest, and I do have, a Facebook group for the women with endometriosis now that they can come in. It's private, but it's, open to the public, so they can come in and just start. And they're a quiet bunch because I think they're slowly learning it's a safe place. There's no judgment. There's no criticism. There's just that acceptance of where they're at on their journey. Mm-hmm. And I get that from you and your community as well, is that people are just very kind of real and accepting of where they're at, because there's so much pretense out there, that puts people under so much pressure and makes people feel more ill, makes people feel more reclusive and more isolated. I read a study recently that people feel more isolated now with all these communications and social media than at any other time in their life because of the lack of community and sisterhood and things.
And the number one killer of old age isn't disease or death, it's isolation.
I know.
So it's an epidemic. And, I started something where I call it beep potlucks. I don't know if I can guess on here. I call them, okay, I'm just going to say it and you can beep it out. It's called potlucks. And every Sunday night, I invite somebody over, whoever. I just kind of go through my Rolodex and pick some family over, invite them over for potluck. And they bring whatever they got, wear whatever they're wearing, and just come over. Because and I can't believe like how long it's been since I've seen some of these people. And they live 10 minutes down the road. You know, it's just crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But going back to your own journey, you know, when you said that you were feeling depressed and then you created this wonderful app for people. And I love that you said that it isn't an overnight thing. It's not a quick fix. Nothing tends to be. And we've normally ended up in the position either physically or emotionally that we're in as a result of perhaps in a lot of cases decades of certain types of, you know, either environmental or emotional stress or whatever that's affected the body. So you're saying obviously it takes time for that gratitude to really sort of resonate on different levels. How long did it take for you to really start to kind of, I know you said you went for the walk that day and you were saying, but give people a kind of, you know, rough time frame that, you know, worked for you, other women you've worked with so that they don't feel a failure, you know, by going, I've been doing it for 2 weeks and it's not worked.
Here's the interesting thing is, you know, if you feel like life is really good already and you do it, it might actually take you a little longer, oddly enough. But if you're feeling like I need something right now, you're gonna feel the impact. I mean, you're gonna feel a definite change very quickly. So the key is, and if you get the app, put it on your home screen so you remember to use it every single day. And to actually like write down, add photos, and consciously make a point of trying to find things to put in your journal each day. Do that, and you'll definitely feel a change within 7 days. But to really truly rewire our subconscious, that's, you know, been there for our whole life, you just got to keep at it because those old paths want to come back. You know, they're old and familiar. They want to come back. So keep at it. And it's not another one and done. Now, I don't want to paint this picture like I kept a gratitude journal and my life was happily ever after. So what happened after that was the app was popular. I started an app boutique where I was creating apps for other businesses. And I was writing a book and all sorts of stuff. I had my first kid. And so life changed quick. And again, I wasn't equipped for all those changes to that next level. Yeah. So what I discovered through another bout of anxiety and health issues and everything else is that it takes more than just keeping a gratitude journal for 5 minutes every night. The first 20 minutes when you wake up in the morning are very powerful times to change your mindset and your subconscious because your ego is resting. It's still asleep, more or less. So the ego is the part of you that's saying, no, it's not going to happen. No, I can't do this because of whatever. And so during that 20 minutes, a lot of us pick up our phones and start trying to find our identity in that phone because we're looking at who liked things or who's our friends or what are they doing and how do I compare to them or what emails did I get or what sort of text messages did I get. And you feel your self-worth based on that phone. And now I make iPhone apps, so I can tell you, hand over heart, those apps are designed to be as addictive as heroin. So do not beat yourself up if you do this. They are designed to be super addictive. Now, try your best for the first 20 minutes not to look at the phone and to use that time to listen to uplifting speakers, read something that's uplifting, write stuff that projects you into the future to where you want to be. Write down how you want that day to go if it was a perfect day. Like today, I'll play with my kids and I'll have tons of energy and I'll put my phone down and I won't be distracted by my phone with my kids. You know, just what would a perfect day turn out for you? And you can spend 5-10 minutes on that exercise. And what you're doing is you're going to execute that a lot more than a to-do list that you build up after reading your emails and everything else.
Yeah, and end up feeling overwhelmed and everything. Yes. Well, it sounds like you're very much just starting the day with intention, starting to be mindful of the power that you have. And for women that are listening to this with endometriosis, if you're kind of like, oh, but you don't understand, I'm in so much pain, we do understand. And what you're trying to do by this being mindful and even just you saying, no, I have a rule in our home that we don't have our phones in our bedroom, and we just don't have them. We have them in a box in the hall because it's just they're addictive things. And somebody that referred the other day, like you go onto Facebook or go onto social media and then you disappear down a rabbit hole. And I thought it was a great analogy because, I was I'm trying to upload something onto my channel on YouTube, and I literally had to mentally fight with myself not to look at the other video before I pressed the upload button. It felt extraordinary amount of tension and energy not to. So I was really aware, but that first, couple of hours in the morning are so key. And I think for the woman with endometriosis, I want to say, I know where you're at. I feel your pain. I know when it's raking through your body, and you've been having all sorts of terrible treatment. One of the ladies recently said to me last week she was had to go into accident and emergency. She got told by a doctor they could find nothing wrong with her, and maybe she'd put a tampon in the wrong way or something like that. I mean, it was just it just defies belief that women with endometriosis have to go through so much to be believed. But I think what I hear you're saying, and I know what I'm an advocate of, and that's why I wanted you on, is that once you start really putting down on paper, being really mindful, start off with clear intentions, it's amazing what will come up for you. It's amazing what insights you'll get. You talked about intuition before. As women, we're incredibly intuitive, but sometimes that's drowned out by the noise. The noise of social media, the noise of things around us. And it's really about carving out time for you to find out who you are, what you really think, and then that all comes back into your body as well. Whether it's like, I don't like that doctor, or I want to do this the natural way, or I want to take this positive action, or I want to stick my pinky toe in the water and see what that's like. Because that's, I think, for women, we have to be very, again, it's part of our conditioning, is to almost think of ourselves, we're told we're selfish, but we're not. This is extreme and essential self-care in my book.
Yeah, okay, let's go back to how women are doing 80% of the decision-making in the household. So that's like, we're pouring ourselves out all day long, 80% of it. Like, there's awesome dads out there. My husband's pretty good at being a dad, but, he's pretty difficult too. He doesn't have that forethought like women do. Uh-huh. And to take that time in the morning is filling your cup so full that what goes over is going into all that other stuff. So you're not pulling from an empty cup.
Yeah.
You're not pulling from, feeling so drained and at the end of your rope and like the devil's chasing you by the tail. You are going, okay, I can do this. I've got this. And it does take, you can do this laying in your bed first thing in the morning when you wake up, instead of chasing the thoughts that are leading to the I got to do this or what about that, and all those what ifs. Give yourself the permission, demand it of yourself, to spend 5 minutes of just daydreaming about, well, what if everything is working out perfectly? What if this is going to turn into even more than I imagined? What if I meet the person today that is the answer to my prayers? Or what if I find something today? And let yourself go in that direction instead. And now, if you do that for 5 minutes before you wake up or before you get out of bed, and as you drift off to sleep, you will have a profound impact. And a lot of times, well, without doubt, your other, your worrying cortisol type of brain will kick in. It's just so powerful. And when that kicks in, then it's time to get out of bed. But let yourself be there in that fantasy world. We don't even let ourselves fantasize about things.
No. And that's it. As children, our imaginations are rife, and then sadly, as we get older, that tends to get sort of almost beaten out of us.
We're told not to use it.
I'm told not to use it, exactly, be in reality. But I think, and I refer to on my programs as almost learning to parent yourself. To parent yourself, from the moment you wake up, and not saying that, to ignore any anxiety if it's there, but equally dare to dream and dare to think, and just notice how your body feels. If you were to say, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and just try this, allow myself those nice feelings, what that would be feeling like. So it's a lovely start to the day. Now, I know you'd said that you've very kindly created something especially for women with heal endometriosis naturally. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. So it's taking right back to the start when I would wake up, and I woke up with panic attacks, and I didn't know exactly how to get energy in my body or what I could do. I would wake up, look at my pillow, and cry that I wouldn't be able to see it again for another 10, 12 hours and wonder how the heck I was going to make it through the day, honestly. And what I created was a packet of really easy activities that you can do laying in your bed. Like, first thing, you don't need to have the strong muscle. You don't need to be out and moving. You don't have to get in a cold shower or anything that's hurtful. This is like a mini spa break every single morning in your bed when you first wake up in the morning. So every day, your day starts by going to your own personal spa. And then you go out and deal with what the world has to offer.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I know you're going to give me a special link, so I'll have it attached to the YouTube channel and to the podcast as well. Or if anyone wants to email support@healendometriosisnaturally.com, they can get that link as well to you. But thank you so much for coming on. It's wonderful. I really appreciate it, because it's people like yourselves that are just adding a bit of sparkle to women's lives. We know, especially the women I work with, have been through so much, and I love what you do. And for those that are listening, if you haven't got my paperback book yet, then please, you can get a free paperback copy worth $14.99 at healendometriosisnaturallybook.com, and I just ask you to pay the shipping and handling. And then join the VIP email list, and also join the Facebook group as well. And this is where you'll get access to more wonderful people like Carla. But thank you so much for coming on today, Carla. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you and all that you do.
Thank you, Wendy. Best of luck to everybody in your group. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate us. If you're interested in learning more, you can download your top 5 jumpstart tips at healendometriosisnaturally.com and jump on the VIP email list. Remember to keep you number one. The world needs a healthy you.